What's up everybody? It's been a while since I made a video about backpacking gear, so that's what we're gonna do today. These are 5 opinions that I have about backpacking gear that some might consider unpopular. I did a video about unpopular through hiking opinions a few weeks ago and I didn't get hated on enough for that, so we're gonna do another unpopular opinions video. Man, please don't hate me. These are just my opinions. I'm sure some of you, a lot of you are probably gonna disagree with these, and that is okay.
Everything's gonna be okay.
Feel free to leave a comment and respectfully tell me if you disagree. Unpopular backpacking gear opinion number 1, and you gotta hear me out with this one. This one needs some explanation. This opinion is that you should still carry a paper map with you at all times when you're backpacking. And I know what a lot of you are probably thinking. You're like, no shit, isn't that, like, of course that's a good, like, why is that unpopular? And I feel like in principle, this is not an unpopular opinion. Like, I feel like most people know that this is true, but in practice, from my experience over the years, there are fewer and fewer people that are carrying paper maps with them when they backpack. I usually do carry a paper map with me, but honestly, I've even been guilty of this at times. Like, if it's a short hike especially, and I have a GPS track on my phone that I can follow, sometimes I'll just be like, I don't need the paper map for this one, but it's not a good idea. And I feel like there's probably a lot of other people out there watching this right now, I know I'm talking to you right now, who would advocate and agree that everyone should always carry a paper map, but don't actually do it a lot of the time. And then of course, there's also some folks out there that would go even further and say that you should carry a paper map and a compass. And this is one of those things where I'm kind of a hypocrite because in principle, I agree. Like, you should probably do that. That is without a doubt the safest thing that you can possibly do when it comes to navigation when you're backpacking. However, while I do usually carry a paper map, I almost never carry a compass. Although I guess there's a compass on your phone, but then I guess the entire purpose of carrying a compass is that you're not relying on your phone. So it's one of those things, do as I say, not as I do. You can shit on me in the comments because I probably it is the safest thing to carry a map and compass. I just want to make that clear, but I am getting off track. Let's go on to the next unpopular opinion about backpacking gear, and this one might actually piss off some of you. This unpopular opinion about backpacking gear is that ultralight backpacking is safer than regular backpacking. Whew. I know there are a lot of people that agree with this, but there's also a lot of people out there who assume, and honestly understandably so, that ultralight is inherently less safe than regular backpacking because you're omitting bringing certain items that you maybe should be bringing in order to keep you safe. There's also the durability aspect. Obviously, ultralight gear is made from lighter weight materials, so people might think your gear is less likely to hold up. Like your tent, for instance. If you have one of these ultralight tents and you get caught in a huge storm, you're just gonna be totally screwed because you brought this piece of shit ultralight gear that doesn't actually keep you dry and keep you safe. That's a fair criticism, honestly. Like, that is fair, but it's also just not really true. Like, maybe at the beginning, I don't know, I wasn't around for the very, like, the OG UL days, but nowadays, ultralight gear is plenty durable and also plenty light. It's really the best of both worlds. I mean, just look at the thousands and thousands of people that have thru-hiked long distance trails using ultralight gear, and it should tell you that clearly this gear holds up. But I'm kind of getting off track here. The main reason why I think that ultralight backpacking is safer than regular backpacking is because when you're carrying less weight on your back, you're just gonna be much less likely to injure yourself, to fall, to just have anything go wrong physically while you're backpacking. I've said this before in other videos, but I really think this is true. If you have a really heavy backpack on, you're gonna be much more likely to get off balance and trip and fall and hurt yourself. Not to mention, if you have more weight on your back, then when you roll your ankle, when you come down hard on a step and put a lot of pressure on your knee, there's just that much more weight that's added, which is obviously gonna just increase your likelihood for injury. So I think ultralight backpacking, when done correctly, I should say, because there is a point where you can go too ultralight and then you're not bringing, like, you gotta still have the things you need to keep yourself safe. But generally speaking, I think ultralight backpacking is safer than regular backpacking. Okay, next unpopular backpacking gear opinion. This next one is much less serious than the previous one. This unpopular backpacking gear opinion is that fanny packs are lame. I talked about this one recently in an episode of my podcast, Trail Tales, which is back, by the way. You should go check it out. I will have a Spotify and Apple podcast link in the description. There's only one circumstance that I can kind of understand a fanny pack being good for backpacking, and it's not a super common one either. I feel like most people that are just more casual backpackers aren't gonna really find themselves in this. The one time I think having a fanny pack would be convenient is if you're on a backpacking trip or a thru hike where you have to go into town, you're staying in town, and you need to walk around town, and you don't have pockets in your shorts. So in that circumstance, I understand you want to put your phone and your wallet in the fanny pack, fine. But when you're actually hiking, dude, I just don't get it. You might think, well, it's convenient to put stuff in there. Well, how about a hip belt pocket? And again, there's definitely something I don't understand about this because a lot of people love fanny packs, but most backpacks, not all of them, to be fair, but most backpacks have hip belt pockets, so why can't you put stuff in there? You also have pockets on your shorts. I know it's uncomfortable to be hiking with stuff jiggling around in your shorts, you know, like this. There's also shoulder strap pockets, like, I don't know, all these different things. I just don't understand why you want the fanny pack. It also just seems uncomfortable to have, granted, I've never used one, obviously, but it just seems like uncomfortable to have it like strapped around your back. I don't know, man. And the most important thing is, dude, that shit just looks goofy as hell. Fanny packs, more like fanny whack, dude. I'm an idiot. Okay. The next unpopular backpacking gear opinion is one that I have talked about again in previous videos, but it's been a long time, and this has to do with stuff sacks. I think stuff sacks are largely unnecessary. Now, not always, and again, this is just a personal preference thing. I do use some stuff sacks, but really only just a few. I have one for my sleeping bag / quilt. I have one for my camera equipment, which is just a small one with like some extra batteries and stuff. And then I also have one that functions as like a ditty bag, so I just put random little miscellaneous stuff in there, and honestly, I sometimes just use a Ziploc for that. Everything else, like my tent, I just shove in the pack, dude. My clothes, shove in the pack. My pot, my fuel, and my cooking pot, it's a joke, I just shove all that stuff into the pack. I don't need stuff sacks for any of that. I also have a frameless backpack, which makes this a little bit more enticing because with a frameless backpack, you need things to kind of fill the space of the backpack. So if you have everything shoved in there in stuff sacks, there's gonna be weird creases and space and it just won't carry quite as well. So if you have a framed backpack, then I can understand the stuff sack thing not being as big a deal to you, but it does definitely help with the frameless backpack. And then also, you guys know I'm an ultralight piece of shit. So I will say having a lot of stuff sacks does add some extra weight. I know it's probably hardly anything. It's probably like an ounce maybe or two. I've never measured them. But if we're gonna get technical, it adds a little bit of weight to have some stuff sacks when you don't actually need them stuff sacks. But that's just me. This next unpopular backpacking gear opinion is that rain pants just seem a little bit unnecessary to me. Now, with that said, I'm gonna be careful with this one because I understand the potential like safety benefit of rain pants. If you're really wet and it's cold, having rain pants could definitely help keep you warm. So if you're a total beginner and you're kind of wondering about this, it might not be the worst idea to go and just get a cheap pair of rain pants and test them out when you first start backpacking, just to kind of err on the side of caution. But I think if you do that, there's a good chance you're gonna find that you really don't need the rain pants. And another thing I'll say is a lot of this largely depends on your style of hiking and how you deal with hiking in rainy conditions. I can only speak for myself here, so I'll just say that when it's raining, I tend to kind of just get after it. It's just uncomfortable to be soaking wet when you're in the rain like that, and so if you're gonna be enduring this misery, you might as well be continuing to move forward towards your destination so that once you get there, you can get dry and put on your warm, nice, clean clothes. I also find myself doing this because it keeps me warmer, it keeps your body temperature up, and so you're less likely to just like start shivering because you're soaking wet and it's freezing cold. And because this is usually how I deal with the rain when I'm backpacking, I just don't really see the point in wearing rain pants. As long as I keep myself moving, I'm usually fine. I also usually still sweat quite a bit even when it's cold and when it's raining. So having rain pants on would just cause me to be even wetter and grosser and just like trapping in all that heat. And we also can't forget that aesthetics is the most important thing when it comes to backpacking, and rain pants, look goofy as hell. And then there's also the weight thing. They're gonna add extra weight, a pretty decent amount of extra weight for a piece of gear that you're only gonna use under very specific circumstances. Now again, those specific circumstances, i.e. when it's raining, can be a little bit more high stakes because hypothermia is a thing that we need to be very, very careful with. So like, honestly, I get it if you like to bring them. I've just found for me, they're not necessary. I think they're probably not necessary for a lot of other people. So once again, maybe start with them if you're new to backpacking and just keep an open mind about this. And there's a good chance you're probably gonna end up ditching them at some point. If you watched all the way to the end of this video and you don't now hate me because of these stupid opinions, please check out patreon.com/KyleHatesHiking. It is the best way to support this content if you like what I'm doing on this channel. You'll get a little bit of bonus content, you'll get a direct line to me, and most importantly, you'll just feel all warm and fuzzy inside because you're helping support my content. So thank you very much, and peace.